Today is an exciting day. This is the first video in the new shop. So if you're here for the first time, welcome. My name's Kyle, I'm from Vanover Customs. We're gonna be working on restoring a table for my friend Shay Alexander over at Alexander Brothers. Basically, this is your typical story on your drill press table here, where we have a lot of holes drilled from people not lining up the drill properly. We're gonna come in here, mill out a channel that he can use a wood drop-in insert and get this fly cut and cleaned up. Let's get over to the Bridgeport and get started. Before we jump over to the mill, I just want to talk about how I'm going to be doing this and give you a little bit of idea on setup and technique. Real quickly, here's just a close-up of the damage. This is pretty typical. You'll see this on a lot of drill presses. This happened to my drill press. We were going to go ahead and weld the holes shut and then mill it, but instead what he's going to do is he's going to cut out a square channel to remove most of the damage, and then we're going to come in here and machine a lip around the perimeter. That way we can drop in a wood insert. The way we're going to do that to get a square corner is use 4 holes in the corner to relieve the edge. That way you can use a square drop-in insert. To get started, what I'm going to do is go in here and indicate off this back surface, and then we're going to use the milling machine to go and relieve all of this material from the table, and then we'll flip it around and mill the step next. Over at the mill, I just want to review this really unorthodox setup. We're moving right now. I have 2 brand new clamp kits. Neither of them are here. So yes, I did use these very old, cheap parallels as clamps. I know that's a no-no, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do to get the job done, and that's working fine there. I'll go ahead and show you the indicator as we sweep the part. We're within about 1/1000, maybe 2/1000 either way. There is a bit of variation in the cast. That'll be more than accurate for this part. I don't know if you can take a look here, but we're kind of fluttering maybe 1/1000 one direction, maybe 1/1000 the other direction max. This will be perfect for this project. All right, let's go in there and break this guy off. All right, let's see how we did. Got the slot cut out there. Flip it over. Perfect. It looks like we got rid of pretty much all the damage here. And we got a nice slot cut in there. So the next step is we're going to go ahead and recess a ledge all the way around the edge, probably about 1/8 on each side, and then we'll go ahead and do a hole in the corner so we can cut it square, and that's about it, and then we'll deck the head. The next step in the process here is to mill the slot. I'm going to do this first before I deck it because it'll be easier to make that depth precise by bringing the whole surface down instead of trying to get the milling cutter down the perfect amount. So we're gonna just use a blue marker. My die is not at the shop here. We're just gonna color the outside so we have a really easy spot to mark. All right, that's fine. And then I'm gonna go get a straight edge. We'll go ahead and extend all the way over to the corner, and we'll make a indentation so that way we can go ahead and do a punch and drill a hole there. The hole won't go all the way through, but that'll give us relief in the corner. All right, we'll go ahead and bring our straight edge over, and we'll use a 1, 2, 3 block to kind of get it in place. Hold it down and then scribe our lines. One, 2, 3 block. Now that I have you in close, I'm hoping this will be easier to explain. I have scribed these lines an 1/8 inch offset from this large slot. That's going to give me an idea of where my end mill is going to travel on both sides. Now when you do an end mill and you try to cut a square, you're going to get a radius on the corner like we did here with a larger end mill. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in first somewhere around about here and drill a hole that is not a through hole, about the same depth as the slot. What that will do is when I'm milling over, that will have pre-relieved the corner. That way I don't have to mill all the way to the edge, and we'll have a nice clean square corner. Back over at the mill, we are all set up. Because this is cast, the bottom is not perfectly flat, so I needed to do some jacking to get it level in all 4 planes. We're going to be using a center finder with a diameter of 200 thousandths. We're going to find the center of this edge here and then this edge here, and then we're going to offset 100 thousandths in either direction, which will give us this point right at the corner, and then we're going to go ahead and drill that down with our 3/8 end mill. We're 3/1000 undersized on the depth. That's close enough, that's fine. Just means we'll deck a little bit less, but that's perfect. All right, we're gonna go around and we're gonna make 3 more of these holes, same position, and then we'll get ready to do the slotting. All right guys, here's the last cut here that's gonna be critical. We're using a 1/4 inch end mill, 4 flute carbide. We're gonna do it in 1 pass on the depth just to minimize error of trying to come back to the same spot. We are gonna take it slow. We're gonna come down to 3/8 of a depth, but we're only taking about an 1/8 inch wide pass. So we'll take it all the way across on all 4 sides, and then we'll be done with that. All right, we're all finished with the difficult work. This actually turned out really, really nice. There's a little bit of machining marks in the bottom of the pocket, but that's to be expected. For what this is being used for, that is more than acceptable. I'm gonna take a measurement and see where we landed on the final dimension. All right, it looks like 373,009 So that's about 1.5 thou, less than what I was shooting for. Perfectly great. That'll work great. When I go to deck the head, instead of taking off 125 thousandths, we'll take off 124 thousandths and we'll be perfect. This is way good enough for what we're using, but it's good to see that every dimension that we set, we hit within a pretty good tolerance. So everything turned out wonderful. The next step is to take this over to the bench, get it cleaned off, bring it back over to the mill, and go ahead and secure it from the sides, so that way we can fly cut the top, and then this is all set. We're ready to fly cut this top surface. I did this off camera, but I went ahead and indicated this in. This has a bow in it in the center by about 10 thousandths. That's probably not too bad considering the use of this being a woodworking drill press and its age. But I did get all the high spots on the corners flat and parallel in all directions within about thousandths, half thousandths to a thousandths. That'll be more than good for this application. It took me a really long time, that's why I didn't show it, but I got it shimmed up and bolted down. I also made a plate in the middle here. That way I could bolt it down to the table, but also be able to deck the top and not hit any of my fasteners. So we'll go ahead and get this decked. We need to take an 1/8 inch or 125 thousandths off. This customer is okay using a double pass method for the fly cut. So I'm going to do it in 2 passes. And we have a brand new Suburban Tool fly cutter, which I'm hoping is going to give us a little bit better results than the old fly cutter that I had. All right, let's get this cut. Very slow feed rate. We got the top all decked down. We only have about 15 thousandths left to remove. We were roughing all those passes. It was about 115,000. Now we're gonna go ahead and take it a little bit slower, try to get a little nicer surface finish. I'm gonna lubricate the surface, and we'll do probably a 10 thousandths pass and then a 5 thousandths cleanup pass. All right, guys, we're all finished up with the project. I think it turned out really, really good. We got the slot cut. We got everything decked and finished on the top. It's gonna look a lot better than the original and also be a lot more functional because Shay can drop in a new piece of wood every time someone drills through it. That's all for today's video. If you have any comments, please post them down below. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.